Queenstown in New Zealand is a lovely place to visit, but of course, whenever you're visiting, you have to stay somewhere. And when I recently went to Queenstown, I stayed at the Novotel Lakeside. So I thought I'd give you my thoughts about what the hotel is like and whether it's worth booking. And the short of it is that the Novotel is comparatively cheap compared to some other hotels, but it is a relatively old hotel. So you want to look at whether you're actually getting what you're paying for and whether you have better options when you were booking, because it's all going to come down to cost and whether you're getting it at a low enough price. So say you were to enter into the Novotel Lakeside. Well, the entry experience and the concierge, well, they're pleasant enough. The staff are really nice. The hotel, to begin with, looks a little bit old, in particular when you enter through into the atrium, which is nice enough in terms of letting a lot of sunlight in, but it does look a little bit dated, even in terms of the brown tinted glass. Makes it look a little bit old. Outside, the Novotel also has a rose garden, which is nice enough as far as it goes, but of course you're unlikely to be spending any time there. Similarly, only a few of the rooms actually have views over the lake, so you'll probably have a view into the courtyard over that rose garden. Now if we go into the hotel rooms and into the hotel itself, well, in general, it's relatively old. The corridors look relatively old, the carpet looks somewhat old. Even the doors going into the hotel rooms look somewhat old. You enter in there, and all of the decor looks a little bit dated. And it's not as if the decor or the room is bad per se, it is perfectly livable and it is perfectly clean. Everything just looks a little bit on the old side. Even just coming down to the wood that's used for the desk and the like. And even as well on the desk, coming down to the types of ports it has for computing. Some old Ethernet ports, for example, that clearly no one is actually going to use. But it is a pleasant enough place to stay, even if it isn't that new or modern. Now in the room I was in, we had 2 double beds, which again is useful enough. It depends on how many people you have staying in the room, but it is good in case you have a couple of people and you're sharing the cost, as many people would be doing in Queenstown. Now the bathroom is an area where the hotel rooms fall down a bit, because they are more dated and the datedness feels more present than it is in the hotel room itself. In particular here, I'm looking at the shower-bath combination. Now, at least in my hotel room, the shower and the bathtub were combined. Now, that isn't unusual per se, but the things that are a little bit annoying about that are first, the shower curtain. I'm not a big fan of shower curtains per se. Secondly, I have a bit of a safety issue with combined shower-bathtub arrangements. In particular, the level of the bathtub is above the level of the floor outside, so it makes it a little bit tricky coordinating getting in and out of the bathtub, particularly if it's a little bit dark or particularly if things are slippery. Now you might be saying that I'm uncoordinated and therefore that's why there's a problem. But say it's someone that's a little bit old, say you were booking and going along with some older parents, for example, or maybe you're booking and going along with kids. You need to think about, is this going to be a bit of an issue for them? And while I didn't slip over, I would be concerned. And I did almost slip a couple of times, maybe belying my lack of coordination. The bathroom otherwise is perfectly serviceable, but it isn't that modern or new or interesting. And that is really the sum total of the hotel. The hotel, however, has one big advantage: its location. It is right next to the lake, which is really, really convenient, because you're probably not going to be spending that much time in the hotel room. At least if you're like me, you'll be spending most of your time out in Queenstown. So easy access to the lake and easy access to the city is really useful. Even if you're just going for a walk out in nature, well, you've got the lake there, and that's great. Or if you want to go into the city to go to restaurants or bars or whatever, well, that is directly outside the hotel. It is extremely conveniently located. Now, there are other hotels that are also conveniently located, but some of them, like the Crown Plaza, are going to cost a little bit more depending on when you are booking and how far in advance you are booking. And that really is what it comes down to with the Novotel. It is perfectly fine, you just don't want to pay too much money for it. Still, you can let me know your thoughts about it in the comments below, and you can let me know where you would want to stay in Queenstown if you were to visit.